I mean, we were bad. I mean, we could not say anything to each other without setting each other off. Until you start changing and you start improving and doing things better, it's not going to make a difference.
Okay, but at what point does he realize he's made mistakes too?
I don't know when that point will be.
Has he realized he's made mistakes with you?
There have been times that he has said, okay, yeah, I was stupid. It takes him a long time. It is hard for guys, Christine, to like come back and say, you know, I was wrong.
Hey friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Wednesday, February 21st. I'm so sorry. Yesterday I said it was Friday, February 20th. Where was my mind? So I have been going back in time, going through the archives of Sister Wives, trying to tie up some of those mistruths that have been revealed and shared on the show. And I was going through a blog called Sister Wives Blog. It was way back when the show first started. There was some bloggers that we're trying to get the truth out about Sister Wives. And at the time, former members of the AUB would chat in the comments and share some of their information about the Brown family, about the AUB. And there was also older clips and videos of Christine in her work with Principal Voices. And interestingly, some of that work included advocacy through an organization with the state of Utah called Safety Net, where they work together to help people in polygamy have a safe place to go if they needed to leave, and talking about how to get people to come forward if they need help. It was just trying to bridge the gap to help people in the system. So one of the things that I found earlier today had to do with Kody Brown begging the Attorney General and law enforcement to actually bring it on and arrest them. And then the other thing I found was a former member talking about how Kody Brown had actually been denied previous marriages before Robyn because he and his family were way too broke. Like, they didn't have any money, the kids didn't have enough resources, and they didn't think that Kody had the capacity to add another wife. And then right before the show goes to air, they approve and allow Kody to marry Robyn, which has some people speculating if this was done intentionally, because if Kody was broke before, why would he be allowed to do it now? And at the same time he married Robyn, Christine was filing for bankruptcy. So it's just a very weird time to bring someone into the family that also has a lot of their own debt. So there was a few comments that I wanted to sort of address from this older blog. And then obviously there has been a lot of really bad advice that's been given to the wives over the years. And some of the times when each one of the wives were struggling with Kody, rather than any of them actually criticizing Kody, they would criticize the woman and say, you just need to do a better job. Kody's not going to change. It's your fault. You know, you need to do better. Mary gave that advice a lot. And so Mary was loyal to Kody to a fault. But is it really good advice to someone struggling in a relationship saying, it's not his fault, it's yours? I don't know. Let's dive into today's topic. Before we do, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click on the bell so you never miss a video.
It's like I have to do everything one-sided then. I have to fix me.
You do.
And it's just one-sided then.
It might be a while, but yeah, I'm serious.
And has that really helped you?
Yeah, it has.
I don't see that it has. I see how you're being so sweet all the time. And I'm just, Mary, he hasn't gone out of town with you all of last year. You didn't get a birthday or an anniversary. I'm sorry.
Last year, you're right. It was just bad timing right around.
Back in the early seasons when Christine was struggling with Kody bringing Robyn into the marriage, they all did these dates. There was like a series of dates. Christine and Kody went and played paintball. Mary and Kody went skiing and she got injured. Janelle and Kody went camping. I think Kody and Robyn went out for dinner. I don't even know. But anyways, she's struggling and Mary's like, yeah, you just need to fix yourself. And then she's like, so it's just going to be one-sided? And she's like, yeah, it's just going to be one-sided. So no marriage should be one-sided. And so when they sit there and say that like monogamy and polygamy are the same, it's impossible to take them seriously with conversations like this. You are responsible for your behavior, but if Kody is negligent and he's not coming around the house and he doesn't want to be around you, that's not your fault, that's his fault. And he's spending all of his time with Robyn, that's not your fault, that's his fault. So she's just told by Mary to keep sweet. Then she's like, but Mary, I see you keeping sweet all the time and it hasn't really worked out well for you. Now, has it? It was all there right in our eyes, all of these issues in this family. And you just have to go back into these archives and you'll see it. So blatant.
No, I don't trust that he'll come around. No, I do not.
And you're not trusting that. That's what's keeping him away.
I can take it.
You're the only person you can change.
Okay.
You can't change anybody else. Don't bring up problems with them. Just have fun with each other.
Okay.
Just have fun with each other.
I won't bring up problems.
And be happy.
So if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling neglected, if you're feeling like you're not getting enough time, your kids' needs aren't being met, don't bring that up with Kody. Just have fun with him. Don't go deep with him. Just be the good, fun-loving Christine, happy Christine that keeps him happy all the time. Don't be real, authentic, or yourself. Just keep happy, light, and good for Kody. Understand how when you're always in a mindset where it's like you're competing with someone else constantly. I was talking to my source and they were saying, you know, when you're in a situation like this, you're constantly competing. And if there's one relationship that's going really well, the last thing that you want to do is complain because he's not going to want to be with you if he can be with someone else and it's easier. And so if you're competing, you're going to be constantly competing to look better, to feel better, to act better, to be better. And so it's constantly on the women, and Kody doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to change because he's the head of the family. I mean, when your whole life revolves around pleasing him, he's never going to change, which Mary is right, but it's a completely unfair dynamic. And this is why the competitiveness of these marriages ends up blowing up families, because you can't trust anyone. You can't make relationships that are deep. You cannot go deep with your husband. Everything is superficial. You're in a world of people and nobody knows each other because everyone is either trying to compete for attention from him or they're trying to one-up each other and do better so that he'll notice them. Or you're gathering information of them misbehaving so that you can get them in trouble with him. It's like you're never going to be friends. So even back then, the writing was on the wall. Now, I want to just dive into something very quickly here about the AUB and some questions from a former AUB member that used to speak publicly about the Browns and some of the answers that he had given. His name was Troy. He had a blog called Cosmo Philosophy, and they were asked, he did some Q&As on a blog for the group, and this one I thought was kind of interesting. This is back from 2011. So it says, are the Browns lying about free will marriages, aren't they? And he said, I'd say they're taking liberties with the definition. It seems rather pointless to insist that the children have free will in marriage if they've been raised to believe that polygamy is a divine commandment for everyone to follow. Free will is a very sticky matter in philosophy. Some philosophers believe that free will is just an illusion and that you can't control our choices. This is called determinism. And the logical problems are hard to avoid when making claims like this. But if you think about it, if someone tells you that God knows everything, past, present, and future, and it's just another way of saying we really have no choice in all that we're going to do. And if we're going to make random choice on our own, that would mean that God doesn't know the future. So they're groomed their whole lives to accept that polygamy is their only way to live, and that if they want to live the fullness of the gospel and become, go to the celestial kingdom, they have to be in plural marriage. So another question was, Kody got denied to marry previous to Robyn for lack of funds. Why would the AUB approve Robyn right before the show when Christine was filing for bankruptcy? When I saw this question, I had no idea that Kody had once been denied a marriage. And I was like, I wonder if he at one point initially had tried to marry Robyn earlier and they said no. and then they had to put it off for a while, and then they said yes, because I don't recall him mentioning that he was allowed to be married more than one time. But they said, it's hard to say. Maybe Kody isn't being completely open with them about his financial situation. It could also be the case that they gave in and granted the marriage after later severe episodes of whining. They often do things that way. So it sounds like Kody had wanted to get married, got denied, and then what this guy is saying is he likely went back to the brethren and begged and begged and begged. So if they're saying that there's free will in marriage and he asked to get married and he was denied to get married in the past, is that really choice? If you're telling me that he asked to get married and they said, nope, you can't get married, you're too broke, then they're controlling marriages. Reading between the lines in Becoming Sister Wives, Kody's brokenness is discussed when he is actually courting Robyn. In the first chapter where Kody and Robyn talk about the relationship, he writes, "The day that Robyn's father called and gave me permission to court Robyn, my sales career had hit an all-time low. Things were so tough that I was considering selling my car. I didn't have 2 nickels to rub together, but I was still considering courting this amazing woman. I was certain that God would find a way for me to bring Robyn into my life." So he's broke. He has no money, but he's going to court her anyway. But then I think he did get denied to marry Robyn because check this out. "I was planning to ask Robyn to marry me on her birthday, but I jumped the gun." So that would have been in October. "A few days before her birthday, she told me that an older and esteemed man in our faith had called to inquire about courting her. This was a shock to my system. I was devastated. I didn't have the money to marry and support Robyn, but I knew that I would have to find a way. Even though Robyn told the man she knew where she belonged, I was still shaken. I believe he was denied to marry her because of finances. And because another man was interested, then he proposed. He says, the next day, Robyn and I drove back out to Thanksgiving Point, and as we sat there talking, I was overcome with what I believed was God's spirit. Before I knew what I was doing, I took her hand and I asked her to marry me." And then he says that Christine told him to kiss the next woman that he gets married to, which is such crap. He says this happened on September 26th. We wouldn't get married for 6 months until then. So this is actually weird because her birthday's in like middle of October, but whatever. So he was too broke to marry her. Someone in the brethren, it sounds like, wanted to marry her. And in order to trump the elite, he bypasses them and asks her to marry him without permission, it sounds like. And I bet he had to go back and get permission afterwards. What a mess. Anyways, the next question was, don't you feel the AUB helped with the show too? Do you think Robyn was married for the interest of the show? He said, I doubt it really. They were much more prone to avoid publicity altogether if possible. I think the AUB leadership is too conservative to feel comfortable risking something like that for good PR. I think he's underestimating this though, because during the early seasons, as we've heard now, Dave Watson, who is now the current prophet, was actually giving Kody and Robyn advice on how to maneuver on the show. So I do think that Kody and Robyn's marriage was good PR for the show, personally. Now, looking back at what I now know, is that once he was denied once, then the AUB says no to getting married. Then they say yes right before the show goes on air. And then while they're in the early seasons, Dave Watson's daughter says that Dave is counseling Kody and Robyn on what to say on the show, what things that they should be, what kind of talking points they should be using, and what steps they can do to help the push to get polygamy legalized. Another question they asked, do you see these marriages starting to crack from the show? And he said, all I can say is from this kind of publicity puts extreme pressure on the wives and kids. I think it was foolish to begin with, and it wasn't ever very well planned. What they may gain from publicity is coming at a huge cost to those kids, especially the older ones. So one of the biggest problems he had with the older kids is that, they are being forced to be put in a position where they're public polygamists. And I would actually agree with that. And then they're not given the right or the choice to sort of be separate from that. So I actually believe that the AUB was involved, and I believe Dave would not have helped if the AUB wasn't involved. And I do think they approved the marriages for publicity, but that's just my opinion. But I had no idea that Kody was denied a marriage before. Did you? Okay, so the next thing is that prior to Christine and Kody ever being on the show, they did an interview with the BBC. And when they met with the BBC, the BBC reporter had actually met them at a rally at the state capitol for polygamists. And Kody was standing there next to Mark shirtless, and Mark flat out said that he wasn't going to prosecute any polygamists. He didn't have the resources to deal with it. That's what he said. Well, then apparently there was some sort of video, and it was at like an event. And in the event, it's a video that is now archived, but she's talking about answering questions. I think it was at a summit for the AUB. And a comment said this: notice that the duplicity of the Brown family. Christine acknowledges on video that the Attorney General of Utah is not interested in prosecuting polygamists. Yet her family would have us believe that they left Utah to escape potential prosecution by the Attorney General of Utah. The duplicity of these people and their recurrent lies are simply amazing. They admitted publicly that they knew that they were never going to get prosecuted. And then another comment was, wow, so Christine says bring it on about being prosecuted, that she isn't scared of the Attorney General. Guess she's done 180 on that. What bugs me about this is that it proves they lied. Nearly every episode they whine about how scared they were to come out and how no one in the town knew that they were living plural marriage. Christine was in the news willingly talking to reporters. She was, because in 2009, she was speaking to the BBC about her family. So in an article from March 21st of 2009, the article was titled "Quest to Legalize Polygamy in Utah." And it talks about meeting Kody Brown and his wives. It says, "All right, everyone, listen up," shouted Kody Brown, brushing the shoulder-length hair clear off of his face. He put both hands out in front of him, pointing towards 12 aged between 4 and 14, gathered around the square table in the middle of the huge kitchen. 6 were on the end, 1 all alone in the middle, 5 with their mothers stood on the other end. Those who belong to Janelle, identify yourselves," instructed Kody, who was 41. 6 pairs of hands shot up and screaming, "Wahoo." And then the child belonging to Mary, and then Leon raised their hand. Now Christine's kids, a show of 5 pairs of hands with a loud wahoo from everyone, including Christine herself, one of the 3 wives. It says, after the introduction, the kitchen returned to kind of controlled mayhem. The boys played a board game, the 3 teenage girls chatted at the kitchen counter, and the very young scampered around. They asked Christine, "So, do you consider all of them your children?" "Well, my children are my children," she answered. "But yeah, I love them all to bits, and this is my family. It's awesome." Kody and Christine Brown live in a polygamous relationship. The house is divided into 3 adjoining apartments and for each of the mothers and their children. And as for where Kody lives, well, as Christine put it, he's everywhere. So they meet them at the Capitol, and they go to this event with him. It says, afterward, Kody and Ann mingled with Mr. Cantrell and Mark Shirtleaf, Utah's larger-than-life Attorney General. Shirtleaf said, "I'm not going soft on them, but I don't have resources to throw them all in jail. I hope they will now work through the process of changing the law if they disagree with it." It became clear that Utah's polygamous communities would be safe from police as long as they stuck to other laws, for example, did not indulge in child marriages or decent things with children. And then Christine said, "My relationship with my husband is only going to be great if his relationship with his other wives are great." So they were out in public in 2009. So this idea and this notion that they weren't public before that and that this was going to turn into a investigation is just hilarious. And then someone asked, when they first moved to Las Vegas, the wives did a Q&A, and someone said, "Why did you choose Las Vegas?" Christine said, "Because of the variety of backgrounds that exist in the area, it seems like the culture would be very understanding to our diverse, large, out loud family. I also hate being cold, and I'm cold for the constant 3 months and was ready for warmth. We discussed options of many other places, but in the end, Vegas won." Janelle said, when we started thinking about the move, we looked around for a close location that made sense. Vegas is about 6 hours away from our friends and family in Utah. Also, it was an easily accessible to those wishing to travel to see us. It's a big city, and even though it's been hurt in the economic downturn, there's still a great deal going on there. We ultimately were looking for a relaxed place. Robyn said, Las Vegas is really close to my family. I've been getting to see them pretty regularly. It's also a great place for people to visit, so we figured we could see friends and family more. Does this sound like a family that's moving because they are fleeing law enforcement? No, they moved for the move and for better opportunities, and so Robyn could be closer to her family. One of the many, many, many lies of the sister wives have been revealed. Christine begged law enforcement to bring it on, but then a year before Sister Wives is on the air, she's literally next to Mark Shirtleaf and he's like, we're not going to prosecute you. So were they really scared of law enforcement? No, not at all. Did Mary give really bad advice to Christine? 100%. And was Kody way too broke to get married to Robyn? Yes. And did they marry her? Did they approve the marriage anywhere to make plural marriage look happy and amazing for the TV show? Yes, I do believe so. This is all for today's archives. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.